The calendar has turned to September. During this month, we lose about 100 minutes of daylight, losing more each day as we get closer to the equinox. I've been noticing this as I have been trying to arrive a little before sunset each night to watch monarch butterflies roosting in the Crowhassan. The decreasing daylight triggers this generation of monarchs to go through a process called diapause. Normally, monarchs mate and lay eggs soon after emerging from the chrysalis because they only live for 2 to 5 weeks as an adult. However, as summer ends, the decreasing daylight and cooler temperatures tell these butterflies to halt the development of their reproductive organs, and they instead spend their time drinking nectar from late-blooming flowers, like the rough blazing star found at the Crowhassan. Instead of living a solitary life like earlier generations, they seek to roost in groups, which helps provide protection and extra warmth as they head south to Mexico. Once they roost and close their wings, they are tough to spot. But if you watch one land, you'll notice they picked a spot near 20 other monarchs. In fact, the monarchs open and close their wings to invite the new guest to the party. These wings are actually a little bit more of a reddish-orange than the yellowish-orange wings of the non-migrating monarchs. These wings are also stronger and more elongated, with larger white spots. These monarchs have more fat reserves, which they've been building up from all the nectar they've been consuming. A change in hormone production actually keeps these butterflies from aging and significantly lowers their metabolism. As we will soon discuss, a lot of energy goes into reproduction, so by putting this on hold, the butterflies can undertake this great journey and actually live 10 times as long in order to accomplish it. Monarchs west of the Rockies don't participate in the gigantic migration to Mexico like those east of the Rockies. I actually think it's the aging milkweed that really starts the diapause. After all, monarchs can only lay eggs on milkweed, since that's all their caterpillars eat. When monarchs mate, they remain together for an afternoon. Then the female starts laying eggs immediately. They lay a single egg on a milkweed plant on the bottom of a leaf near the top of the plant. They will usually lay between 300 and 500 eggs. They also secrete a small amount of glue to hold the egg to the leaf. The eggs hatch after about 3 days. The caterpillar, or larva, eat like crazy to grow from 2 millimeters to 45 millimeters in a couple of weeks, only taking a break to shed their skin every couple of days as they move through the 5 instar larvae phases before forming a chrysalis and entering the pupa stage. After 8 to 15 days, they emerge as an adult butterfly, completely metamorphosed. If they are of the super generation, they will fly all the way to Mexico. They need to know both the time and the position of the sun to help them determine which way south is. They always know the time by their circadian rhythms, but they need both their eyes and their antennas to help them always locate the sun. Researchers prove this by painting their antennas black and finding that they always lost their way. The most amazing thing is that all of the monarchs from the United States and Canada end up in about 12 colonies in the oilmouth fir forests in the mountains of central Mexico. There could be up to 100 million butterflies overwintering there. And since I'll probably never go there and see them, I had to settle for several trips to the Crowhassan to see 20 or 30 roosting together. Over the Labor Day weekend, we spent time looking for warblers that were already making their way south. A fresh batch of newly hatched mosquitoes were keeping the tree swallows very busy. No birding outing is ever complete without taking in a busy, hairy, or downy woodpecker. As we got a closer look at the tree swallows, we noticed that there was also large flocks of cedar waxwings. It seems that they have moved off their all-fruit diet and are also thinking time's fun when you're having flies. It seemed the migrating warblers were difficult to find, so I had to settle for photos of the local birds that had been here all summer. I did manage to capture a cormorant practicing throat fluttering, which is a technique that they use to increase evaporation and help cool themselves off. Now back to the butterflies. You probably thought you had learned everything there was to know about them, but there's more. This one is a male. You can tell by the black dots on his hind wing, which you see when he starts to fly. Here, a female competes with the bumblebee for the nectar of the rough blazing star flowers. The next day, I decided to check out the Sherburne Wildlife Refuge for one more chance at seeing migrating warblers. While I did see a good variety of birds, the warblers were not calling, and they were hiding. As I walked the woodland trail, I seen a baby eastern wood pewee who was either at the dentist or waiting for a parent to bring him lunch. When I came around a corner, there was suddenly a bird with a black bill and a very long tail. It was the black-billed cuckoo we'd been looking for all summer, bird number 312. It did remain silent the entire time I watched it, as they often do, but I was able to get some good photos of a bird that I'd never photographed before. I decided to make one last check on the monarchs, but as I was walking through the woods, I heard a barred owl calling. He was directly above me, but before I could get the tripod set up, he flew right over my head and took off deep into the woods. Since the sun was already setting, I decided to get some more slow-mo footage of the monarchs roosting. I had finally learned that you cannot adjust the focus in slow motion by just touching the back screen. Soon, these butterflies will fly all the way to Mexico, and when they get there, like most people, they will spend their entire vacation just lying around. But when the temperature and daylight are just right, they will get the signal to end diapause and start their journey back north. Along the way, they will reproduce and lay eggs. Then, like most butterflies, they will die shortly thereafter. It will be the next generation that finishes the migration northward, a generation that only lives 2 to 6 weeks, like most monarchs, but they will owe their life to these butterflies who flew over 3,000 miles. On the last day before school started, after finding a red-breasted nuthatch a little south of its normal range, Lucas finally found the Canada warbler that had eluded us all summer. This female is also about to embark on a 3,000-mile journey before we will see her again. But it has been a pretty good summer of birding and butterflies.